Welcome back to Logical Thinking, and today I'm going to explain a little bit more about the material conditional and why it has the truth table it does. I find this is a common point of confusion, and I even remember being confused about it as well, so I'll do my best here to explain why in particular it is true whenever the antecedent, meaning A, is false. Recall that the material conditional is a binary operator that is false whenever A is true and B is false, and true everywhere else. In this video, I'm going to explain why. Now, sometimes you'll hear people say this is because it is simply defined as not A or B, but this doesn't really answer the question about conditionality. So let's first start by giving an example. Suppose A is the proposition, it is Tuesday, and B is the proposition, I will get ice cream. A implies B is like saying, if it is Tuesday, then I will get ice cream. Looking at this truth table, let's do our best to try to fill in what makes sense first. So we're going to have A, B, and then A implies B. So we need to cover all 4 rows of our truth table of all the possible combinations of A and B. Let's go ahead and start by looking at this first row in the truth table. Suppose it's Tuesday, meaning A is true, and I do get ice cream, meaning B is true. In this case, it makes sense to say, if it is Tuesday, then I will get ice cream. So we're going to put a true here at this line of the truth table. Makes sense. I have a clear example of both of them being true, so it makes sense to say that they're both true. Now, suppose it's true that it's Tuesday, but I don't get ice cream. This is like the second row. A is true and B is false. It would be false to say, if it's Tuesday, I will get ice cream, if in fact it is Tuesday and I don't get ice cream. We have a clear example, a clear contradiction here. So for row 2, we're going to go ahead and put false. Makes sense. But what happens when it's not Tuesday? Can I necessarily conclude anything about whether or not I would get ice cream on Tuesday if in fact I do or don't get ice cream on Tuesday? So this third row is like saying it's Monday and I get ice cream. Does this give me a reason to think I would or wouldn't get ice cream on Tuesday? Well, it kind of depends. It seems like maybe I could get ice cream every day. Or maybe the fact that I got it on Monday makes it so that I'm already full and don't want ice cream the next day. Likewise, suppose it's Monday and I don't get ice cream. This doesn't really give me a reason to say whether or not I would get ice cream if it was Tuesday. So for both of these cases, it seems like we don't really know. However, due to the law of the excluded middle, if we want this to function as a proposition, we need to assign it a value of true or false. We can't say I don't know, so it has to be something. Well, the way the material conditional is defined is it puts a true in these 2 rows because it wants to be as permissive as possible. It wants to be the least restrictive value for truth. Because there's a possibility that A implies B is true, we're going to say true, or we're going to say vacuously true, simply because we don't know and we're not trying to unfairly penalize it for something that didn't happen. Let's start by looking at this 4th row here in the truth table, and I'll give you a reason to think that A implies B should be true. Suppose B happens to be the same as A. Now we have A implies A, or if it is Tuesday, then it is Tuesday. And also, clearly, if it is not Tuesday, then it is not Tuesday. So one reason to say that A implies B is better left to true than false is there's a possibility that it is true, and we don't want to mistakenly say it's false when it sometimes is true. Now technically there's no way these propositions can change. Once again, they're just assigned to true or false, not true at a given time or false at a given time. So it's safe to assign it to true and just kind of leave it at that. So we're going to go ahead and assign it true. What about this case? Here, we can't possibly have that A implies A or B implies B because they would have to have the same truth value. So what can I know about B when A is true if all I know is B when A is false? Well, the problem here is there isn't really any additional reason for us to think that B would be false if A was true. And if we had that additional information, such as the information of the form A exclusive or B, then I could use exclusive or instead. Consider this another way. If someone said, if you pay me $100, I'll pay you back $150 in a week. Now, if I pay them and they don't pay me back, I have a reason to be mad. That's that second row in the truth table. But if I don't pay them and then they pay me $150 anyway, well, I kind of have an additional reason to think they'd still pay me $150 if I actually did what they asked, if I actually gave them the $100. Once again, this basic form of logic can't capture these notions of what could have been. We're going to err on the side of caution and not rule it out. And for this reason, we're also going to say true for this 3rd row in the truth table. Now, in future videos, when we talk about logical deductive arguments like modus ponens, we usually won't allow these vacuous notions of truth, which is why these kinds of structures, these logical structures like modus ponens and modus tollens, are so strong. They're actually going to not only rule out the possibilities that B is false, but they're also going to rule out the possibilities of these vacuous notions of truth, which is why the logical deductive arguments we're going to be talking about are so strong. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.